Hi girls and guys, so I said I'm going to do a quick YouTube video about the resurrection of Jesus and how I feel that it resonates with our daily life, okay? Because as we know, stories in the Bible are not just like fairy tales. These are things that we will find within our daily life that we will go through as we are taking our walk in this life. We will probably come across some of these things, and then we can learn how to ourselves deal with them and make them better in a way that benefits not only us but other people at the same time. Okay, so with the resurrection of Jesus and our daily lives, in our lives we will come across people who will crucify us, hang us, leave you for dead, say that you are never going to amount to anything, and just leave you there to rot, basically, right? And then once they feel like they've accomplished that goal, they will push you into a corner, which is basically the tomb, and say, yep, you're done for, you're dead, and roll a stone over and say, that's it, try and forget about you and walk away, right? So from there, they just think, yeah, that's it, nothing else. But then you rise up from all of it like nothing even happened. You rise up and realize your greatness and potential, all through God, all through the times that you've had bad times when you didn't feel like you could even speak about half of this stuff because nobody was listening to you, or nobody felt like your dreams was even worth it. Like all of those times when you've cried, all those blood, sweat and tears that you've had to go through to get to where you are, you finally rise up. You come from that place, you take away all of their ideals of you, and then you continue to rise. You take off all of their layers, all of their hateful layers, all of the things that they had to say, all of the names that they've called you, and then you realize that their opinions and everything that they had to say and all of their sins and all the things that they tried to push on top of you was nothing to do with you. They're the things that they needed to deal with themselves, and then you've come from that and you rise up, and then they'll stand there in disbelief to see that you actually was able to get out of that situation, that you was able to shake off everything that everybody had turned around and said. You was able to, live again after all of the things that they thought was going to surely kill you, and that's what I feel like the resurrection of Jesus symbolizes within our daily life, because we are going to come across people who are going to want to see you suffer regardless of what you do. You could be doing the best thing, you could be out there helping loads and loads of people, you could be like one of the best people who are out there. We're all sinners, don't get me wrong, like there's nobody perfect out there, nobody can walk this earth like God, right? That's why he sent Jesus in the first place, so that he could experience it, and he knows the sins that we go through, he knows the things and the temptations that we go through, so that we can understand that there is a way that we can be saved. Even if we are sinners, there is still a way that we can be saved. There is still a way that we can hold our heads up and say, please Lord God, forgive me for the things that I have done. Not everybody's going to choose that way, of course, because everybody has their free will, right? Which is understandable as well. And then people really just don't know what to believe and what not to believe, and that's understandable too. There's no forcing in this walk. There's no forcing in saying that people should do this and people should do that. That's like a whole thing where that's all forced upon you through like older belief systems and beliefs and things like that, and those chains that they try and hold you down with. Like, I am new to this, obviously, but I believe that if he said to me that I should come the way that I am, he's going to accept me exactly the way that I am. God has done a lot of work on me in the last year, I would say, last year, 2 years, I would say. And I would say there's a lot of things that have definitely changed within me and on the outside of me, because a lot of stuff just don't matter as much as they used to anymore. Like, and unless you decide to go on this walk, you won't understand where I'm coming from. But you've got to understand one thing, that the more you allow other people's opinions of you to bring you to this place, to make you sit down in that tomb and just die, like the more that you are just stopping yourself from living a life. Like, you're not living your full life to your full potential, because you are allowing all of these things to take a hold of you for whatever reason it is, and the insecurities that you have within yourself. Like, maybe you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, and you need the latest this and you need the latest that, and if you don't, you feel like people are going to say things about you because of it. And it's all just material things at the end of the day. Yes, we all like material things. It's nice to have things. It's not saying that you should follow God and you can't have these things, like you can't acquire these things, but they just become less important because you realize that there's so much more to life than just the things that we can acquire and collect. And then and then with us, sorry guys, once we have these things, it's like we want more anyway. So it just becomes a thing where you're just collecting and collecting and collecting. But what are you actually giving? Like, what are you providing other people with? What service are you giving to other people that's helping them to do something else, like, and helping others to be better, and yourself at the same time? Like, what are you doing to feed your soul? What are you doing to take off those sackcloths that people have wrapped you in and said that you wasn't going to amount to anything? Like, what are you doing to elevate yourself? What are you doing to invest in your own future? What are you doing to invest in your family line's future down the line, your children's children? Are you even thinking along that line? Like, what is your mind frame? Are you just stuck on these material things? And then when you're stuck on these material things, which a lot of people get stuck on these days, which is like Nike and all those kinds of things, what you're not realizing is that you are paying into a franchise of somebody else's name. Like, all well and good, but that's someone else's name. That's not your name. It's not something that you created yourself. It doesn't have your name on it. So in the future, you could have a whole bunch of somebody else's name stuff just lying around your house, and it wouldn't amount to anything. It wouldn't be of any benefit to your children or their children's children. Like, what are they supposed to do with that? Because it's not your name that's on it. It's not something that you've created. It's not something that you've built from the ground up. Seeing as that's how everybody thinks in this generation, and we're going to acquire something, why not try to acquire something that's going to hold something for like years to pass? We're not going to leave here with anything anyway. We're not, that's just the truth. We're not going to leave here with anything. The only thing that we are going to have is our soul. So when we're leaving with our soul, wouldn't you like for your soul to be cleansed, clear of all the things that are holding you down, even if it's not all of the things? Because I don't know if we in this lifetime or any lifetime are going to be able to account for every sin that we do. Like, we're all sinners. We sin every single day. There's something that we do that is a sin. Could swear, it's still a sin. Like, we're all sinners. There's nothing that we can do, okay? Like, literally, we can only just hope that God will look at us and see that we're something that's worthy of him looking after us and being by our side. So literally, like, yeah, that's all I really wanted to say when it comes to the resurrection of Jesus, because a lot of people will probably take the mick out of it and see it as, oh yeah, the story, and when Mary Magdalene saw him, and and like cracking jokes about it and all these kinds of things. But when you really sit and look at it from a perspective when it comes to your life, look at the similarities and the things that people do sometimes to you to stop you from doing the things and reaching the goals that you're supposed to acquire. Like, people are really out here trying to demolish other people. We are living in a time where this is not a godly time. It really isn't. There's people, children even, going around doing things and killing people. You hear it. You've heard the news. You've probably seen it all over social media. You see all of these things. That's why I took a social media break as well, because just know it's never any good news. Never, ever any good news. And I'm not interested in anything that has bad news in it. Like, there's too much of it going around. Like, you don't want to ingest that every single day. So that's another thing as well. Like, try and take a break from it all and just figure out exactly what it is that you're supposed to be doing for yourself. Like, at the end of the day, life is shorter than it should be. We all know that. And when I sit down and I read the Bible and I see how many years people actually live to, and we will probably, at our best, if we are lucky, get up to 80, 90. Like, some people probably live up to 100 or something if they're really lucky. you know. And I look and I say, wow, like that's a really big decrease from the 300s and souls that I was reading in the Bible. Like, we have become such sinners that we're not even worthy of life that much anymore. And it's hard to look at it that way, but when you really do look at it, it's like, yeah, he said enough. He's almost had enough of us. Like, have you not had enough of it? Are you not tired of it? When are you going to be tired of it? When are people going to realize that you cannot eat money? You cannot live on money alone, basically. Like, when are you going to realize that your soul needs some kind of nourishment too, and it's not all about just buying and acquiring and all those kinds of things? But yeah, I'm done. I'm out of here. Ciao.